So I do a video. Probably a bit dark. I took some of the bulbs out of my. I took that bulb out of my light up there just to save some power. I don't see the point having too many bulbs in your bedroom. It doesn't have to be that bright. Nice mirror on the ceiling would look good though, wouldn't it? Do a bit of good girl. Like that brothel up in Sydney. I started a craze. Anyway, didn't work out for me though, did it? But anyway, maybe one day I'll get my good girl back. I was just wanted to put on like a just a video about, just I haven't really spoken much about heaven, what heaven is. I suppose people think heaven's a place out there in space somewhere, or it's in their heart, or it's under a rock, or it's some place hidden away. But I suppose they think, you have to die to go there. You have to die to go to heaven. All it really is just the promise of eternal life. That's all it really is, just the promise to say you're going to live forever. That's all heaven is. It's just, now however you live is it's determined day by day. But the promise is heaven will look after you forever. So that's what heaven is. It's a bond of eternal love. It's doesn't mean your life you're going to wander around unaffected. Things will affect you in the day, but you'll always have the ability to deal with it. You'll always be able to take on those problems in a good way and be a positive influence. And people might go, like stick their finger in their mouth and say, sick, "Oh, why do you have to be so good and lolly sweet and all this sort of crap?" But when I think about what I prefer in life, do I prefer lying in the ditch, sucking on worms and maggots and eating my own rotten flesh, or do I want to lie in a beautiful silk bed with beautiful girls kissing me and, angels, bathing my feet or whatever, like whatever happens. That's the idea of heaven, is everything's good and everything's sweet and beautiful and lovely. And I think if you just want to just, say, oh, I want to be bad and I want to do bad stuff and I want to be a shithead or whatever, it might be right for a while. I think, though, that eventually you're just going to end up in a horrible place, that either in jail or a psych ward or, somewhere just really nasty, and you won't be able to get out of it, because you'll have that attitude that you got to be bad and you got to be a bad person, do bad stuff. So I don't see anything wrong with being really nice and being really good and being really helpful and happy and funny, and that's the world that I want to live in. I don't want to live in a shit world where, you're licking cowpats or some crazy fucking crap like that. I don't want to be like that. So that's the world I look forward to in heaven, is just being really loved and doted upon and looked after. And, and I think from here, from when I started out going to heaven, I sort of had to then hit rock bottom and then start off. So that's what I sort of did, I suppose. So I sort of went to heaven, then just started off from the bottom again, and then everything's slowly improving. And I don't think it'll ever get any worse ever again. It'll always just keep getting better. So that's just how I see heaven. It just keeps improving because the love keeps growing, and it's sort of, it's infectious. People want to be loved, so they join in, and they want to feel good. So they want their dreams to come true. They don't just want a boring life. Some people, I suppose, are happy with that, and that's all right. But I want heaven. I want things to keep getting better. I see those movies like G-Force and all these sort of. I want to live all these great movies the way I imagine them. Not all violent, but exciting and adventurous and happy and joyful and all that sort of stuff. Like that's the way I see it anyway. But others might disagree and say, oh, you're crazy, or Once you've felt that bond with the world, though, and you can see how it's taking care of you, you just know you're in heaven. You know there's nothing to worry about. Sorry, I burp a bit. I got a bit of wind just from not exercising. Because when you exercise, you actually your lungs breathe, but also when you exercise, your cells breathe. So you breathe through the oxygen and the wind and everything. And if you're not doing that, you end up with burps and farts and stuff. So it builds up and then comes out all of a sudden. Whereas when you're exercising well and when you're, really aerated, it all just, the air flows through your skin almost. So if you're sitting around too much, it all flows out your ass. So you don't actually have any more or less oxygen in your body. It's all clumping out through your bum and your mouth instead of out through your pores, like when you're exercising. So when you feel great, when you're all sexually free and exercising, it must be a really great feeling. I remember as a kid it felt good, so just running around and exercising. You sort of get to a point you're not sexual, you're not really feeling that freedom, so you sort of sit around too much, eat too much, then you start farting, burping, and but it's a bit of a battle, especially finding a partner is hard, but I'm sure heaven, like, it'll provide some answers eventually. Like, someone will come into my life and want the same things, the same values, and that's all you really need, someone with your same values. I met that girl I call my soulmate. It's probably because we had very similar values. But there was just some problems keeping us apart and didn't work out. So if I met someone else with similar values, it would be the same sort of great feeling, I think. So, yeah. Anyway, I could go on about where heaven started. It sort of started back before Moses. Heaven probably started around the time all the great philosophers got together. They started thinking about probably when astronomy sort of started out. Around is it Galileo or trying to think who was a great astronomer. I think it was Galileo or someone sort of started out sort of heaven in a way, all that ancient philosophy, and I think it was a bit before Jesus, and then Moses come along and sort of talked about God's commandments, and then Jesus come along and sacrificed his life for his beliefs, and he never went to heaven. He was, he shouted out, Father, why do you forsaken me? Like he believed heaven was not, not really sort of there yet. He had to prepare the way. He knew the way to heaven, but he knew he wasn't there yet, so he's had to build all this stuff, he's had to create all this stuff, and he's probably been doing Disney and probably where I'm sitting right here now, holding this phone, so it's just it's a whole journey to heaven, from back there to here is like there's nothing to be worried about or ashamed about. It's just a person's life, so it's not like anything, blasphemous or anything, believing you might be Jesus, because you might be, you might have done all this work to create your heaven to get to this point, so it's almost like it got to heaven, now we're just starting off on the journey there, so eventually it'll just be surrounded by gods and angels and be a beautiful, wonderful place to live, and probably be on Earth or another planet or something, or it's all out in the universe. So yeah, but Jesus never quite got there. He was just preparing the way. So he created faith, really, in a really sad way. Would have been a much nicer journey, because heaven could be any sort of journey, would have been a much nicer journey for everyone if they had said, okay, you are the son of God. All right, well, we'll get you married, and then you can prove it by how much you love your wife. And instead of, turning on him and killing him off, which is not really the ideal way to deal with someone who wants to love you. Just kill them. So it's just greed, really. People wanted what he had, and tried to kill him for it, and in the end, he comes back and wins in the end. So it's a bit stupid, isn't it? All those people are probably destroyed now. They're probably gone. They tried to hurt him, so very idiotic, really, to try and hurt a person for their beliefs like that. I don't really hurt anyone who's just going around helping the sick and they're healing people and trying to give people faith. And really, if they had have loved him and got him married and seen a deeper level of love, he might have even healed the sick completely with his love. So might not have even needed medicine. Might have been a whole different world, because the whole medical industry really is choking the world to death. And not just them, but technology and all these other things that arise out of this whole crucifixion. All this, the needs of people for all these problems people have. And anyway, I'm not down on any of it. It's just, it could be a lot better. That's all I'm saying. The world could be a whole lot brighter and much more efficient, well managed, and less detrimental to all the other sort of races and all the other cultures. And could be a very fantastic world to live in, instead of very controlled and very stagnated and very held back and punished, and very police orientated. And there should just be general trust in the world, between loving people. But I've had a horrible time since all this has sort of happened. But yeah, it's just sad that the birth of faith and birth of heaven and all these other important things in the world are just not understood very well, and the people react with violence. So very sad, really. They don't need to. You can just be friends and find partners and get married and have your kids, and that's basically what heaven's all about. So yeah, a lot of people are probably on a similar journey, and some people might not be. They just don't believe in it. So I do. I want a happy, loving, beautiful, fluffy, fun, cozy, warm, beautiful world to live in. I don't want to live in a cold, desolate, war-torn, just destroyed, destructive sort of place. I just don't want to be there in that sort of world. So if that comes to that, I'll just find my own little space somewhere away from all that. I don't want to be part of all that. If it comes to a time when that's necessary and there's no other way out, well, I'll find my way through it. But yeah, it's not really my dreams to be violent or destructive, so it doesn't interest me. I'm a creator at heart, so I create the world I want to believe in and want to live in, and I might get abused by others, but in the end, they won't inherit those beautiful things that have been created. So the meek and the mild inherit the earth. The people that lower themselves to others, not try and beat them down, but just try and lift other people up. That's what meekness is. You lower yourself to lift others up. And then they have their strength to do the work for you and do lovely things for you. Then out of that, you inherit the future and the world. And that's the way I see it. All these power-hungry people trying to dominate and hurt other people to get what they have and all this sort of stuff is just disgusting. They should be happy with what they have. Not try and just take everything from other people. It's what do they really need at the end of the day? You've got two arms. You can only hug one person, can't you? You don't need a million people under your reign of whatever people are trying to do. But I talk about having 100 wives, which isn't that many people really, but it's mainly just to have my own little secure little community to raise my kids. Really, I mean, I just want a lot of my kids born. They've never been born before, so I've always taken my kids from my wife's side, never my own. So I've been nurturing them forever. I just want them born. I want them happy in a happy world. I want them out there and these beautiful little souls to exist in the world. I believe there are all sorts of people in there, superheroes and X-Men and Muppets, and there's all sorts of crazy little creatures in there. They look human, but they've got characteristics of different sort of characters from films, and there are all sorts of little beautiful creatures in there that they're all human beings, but they just got a lot of personality traits of different things I've dreamt about. And yeah, I'll go through life, and hopefully I'll meet some people and some nice girlfriends that can help me give birth to these beautiful people, and the world can get to know them. They're in there comfortable, just whatever they're doing, sleeping away or whatever they're doing to prepare themselves for the world. But I've carried them a long, long time. I feel very heavy sometimes carrying these kids. There's so many of them, I just love to see them born. It'd be great. I suppose in the end I'll find some way. If I can't find a wife, I'll find some way to have them born. But I'd love to have them in a nurtured family with a beautiful wife who loves me and wants to share that superpower, that heavenly power that's there. And anyway, I'm in. I better just stop there. See ya. It's not a gold tooth, just reflection.